met Miss Villavasso, or Miss V as she's known to her students, while we were taping a story for the Jefferson Parish Public School System Summer Arts Camp. We walked into her class and she was surrounded by her students, mesmerized by what she was doing. As we neared to see what was happening, we saw her applying a bloody scar made from latex and tissue paper to a young, excited boy. It was so gross, but the kids loved it. Immediately, Miss V was so easy to talk to, and we learned that she was a talent theater teacher in our system who wrote and directed a play for her Adams Middle School students. It would be the first time performed for the school, with a second performance at the Audubon Zoo. We thought it would be great to see a middle school production in action, so we asked Miss V, who agreed to allow us to tape her students at different stages of their rehearsal to see the challenges, work, and growth of her middle school production of the Wild Elephant Orphans of Kenya.
A couple years ago, a friend of mine gave me a book called The Wild Elephant Orphans because I love elephants. I have elephant rings. I just love them. But when I got this book, I was so startled because I was really clueless. I knew about elephants being poached, but I was not as aware about the conditions of the drought and how the babies were separated from their parents, and how when the riverbeds would dry up, the babies would reach down for their trunks, but they couldn't reach the water, so they would fall in. And there were all these heartbreaking pictures of baby elephants in holes, and mothers just grieving because they could not reach them. And so there's an elephant orphanage in Kenya, and they would go rescuing these elephants. They suffered, they hurt, and they would miss their parents, and so they would bond with their keepers. There were all kinds of pictures of the elephants with their trunks wrapped around the keeper's head, and the keepers feeding them out of these big, look like 2-liter bottles and stuff. And some of the elephants didn't survive, and not so much because they weren't getting the right medicine or the right food, but because of separation from the parent. When I began to write and loving elephants the way that I do, and feeling a kinship and a connection with them, because they're very protective, they mate for life, they are really good parents, and when they grieve, it almost looks like a funeral service that they did when one of theirs had died. And I went, well, we could put all of that into it. I like to hear their voices. I like to hear projection. I give them a piece to read it, and I tell them, read it as fast as you can. Now read it as slow as you can. Now read it in the deepest voice you can. Now read it in the highest voice you can. If you know any accent, read it in that accent. Now put it down. Now say it as much as you remember it. Okay, now say the line. Now let's move. Okay, now walk like you're 92, and walk like you're spring chicken. Now walk like you just ate a heavy meal. Now walk like you are walking on water, or walk like you are walking on ice. So it's physicality. I think if you saw me directing, you heard me saying that your body has to express the emotion as well. You just can't say, I'm happy, and nothing else about you shows you're happy. So everything has to express that. And sadness, and anguish, and laughter, and hurt, and connecting. I think it's just a connecting, and you have to connect to your audience, and you can't do it if you're half invested. So when audition process, I need to hear all of that, and I needed to see, could you move? I needed, could you follow a beat? Could you follow a rhythm? You know, because some of us you have to be very almost rudimentary when you're teaching a dance step.
Auditions is really nervous because you're scared that you won't get into it. We had to say lines from one single scene.
Auditions, I actually wore pajamas for the auditions. Thought you should be comfortable. So everyone was smiling and laughing, but I thought that auditions went well. People got out of their comfort zone, and they did a dialogue and singing, and I thought that it was a very fun event.
Actually, I didn't get to go to the real auditions because I didn't have a ride, so I had to audition in my my class. So it was kind of weird not doing it in front of other people in the class. But I mean, she made us do different voices and all kind of read a paragraph and all.
Yeah, we had auditioned in front of everyone that was there. For this play, she made us read from the script that she wrote, and she gave us a specific part. And I guess whatever part she felt comfortable would fit right for us, she would give it.
They can be incredibly draining. They involve, technically, for me, a lot of preparation. I have approximately 20 kids in this play, and the last one time I did with like 12. So having 8 kids more, it's a bit challenging. Everything must be ready for them. The music cue has to be right. Everything has to be set up, or I will have chaos, and especially with doing this play with this many entrances, exits, dance moves, and so forth. So for me, it is preparation.
Rehearsal is like after school club, to where you learn your lines, rehearse your lines, learn to dance, and just keep practicing over and over until you get it down pat. In rehearsal, we practice blocking, which is which way do you go? Upstage center, upstage right, downstage right. And we've been learning that in drama classes too. But we've also been practicing dance moves, lines.
I think they're fun because it gets you to know other people. It's very social, and you also get to know how to act with different people and different personalities, and it's very good for mingling. So I think rehearsals go very well.
Rehearsal is fun. You can interact with some of your classmates or your friends, and you learn new stuff. You learn new stuff from them, and Ms. V teach you to express yourself. And you learn every day, just more lines, more dance moves. It's really fun.
My favorite part about the play has to be interacting with everyone else in the play and getting to get what their take on it is and how they say the lines that they're supposed to.
Rehearsal is fun to be with other people who like doing the same thing you do, and everybody enjoys it the same way. Even though Ms. V said don't goof around a lot, some of us still do it.
Of course, having a background in theater, I have some knowledge. But when you get into the actuality of it, you have to work with what you have. And a lot of times it was just found materials and what I had. And I would look and someone would just give me a donation of tempera paints. And I go, okay. And then when they built this building, there was leftover building materials and, well, it doesn't look like they're coming back for them, so let me see what happens if I paint it. And this school has a beautiful atrium with loads of plants in the middle. And I just asked the principal, can I cut some? And I would just go and cut these leaves. And I just press them and see what would happen. And if it looked good, fine. If it didn't, we tried something else. So it was basically, what looks good? What works? If it doesn't work, paint over it. And if that doesn't work, try something else.
I'm not an actor. I do the art and the scenery and the background behind the scenes stuff for the play. We use different materials like bubble wrap and toilet paper rolls to make designs on the paintings. Sort of like dry, drought type area. We do orange and green for different parts of the play.
My creative side shows a lot whenever I'm helping out with the props. This really, the first one I actually worked on was the net that's actually behind us right now. That is the net that the hunter uses to capture the father elephant. I just kind of weaved in all the colors, most of the colors.
And I'm working on the behind the scenes this year, and it's actually really nice seeing how everybody else does the background work, and it's really fun too. I'm kind of giving ideas, I gave the idea for the hunter, and I also help with the seat and pin it up, and it's fun.
One of the things when I decided to do mask, I got idea of how to do it from the Lion King, because all of their masks are on the head, and so the actor's face is free, and I didn't want anything covering their face. So I started researching African and different kinds of African masks, and the one thing that I fell in love with was the use of negative and positive space. And basically what you do on one side, you open it up to do to the other side. So this eye may be closed, this eye is open. This nose may be covered, this nose is open. I mean, you have no idea how many prototypes I went through to figure out what would work best. That insulation, I thought that would make a great mask. It didn't work well with at all. There was another kind of stiff board, that didn't work. The one that worked best was poster board, but spray painted. And I couldn't allow the kids to spray paint. So that's where it came when I think one of the kids told you, I gave them samples of colors and I'd spray painted, which ones you all choose. And then I went back and all I did was spray paint the poster board or the chart board, or whatever you want to call it. And then they took over at that point.
I didn't think I could do this. I really didn't. It's hard the way Ms. V showed us. Last year, I was just asking Ms. V because she do mine and everything, because I never thought I could make something like this way. And it didn't take me really that long. It was really easy.
A few weeks later, we visited again to see how the play was coming along. With the cast set and rehearsals that include an opening dance number as well as line memorization and blocking well underway, the cast of The Wild Elephants hit a few key production snacks.
The recent challenges have been just number one, scheduling. This is a time of year of cheerleading and football practicing and dance practicing, and I've got a play to put on, and I've had auditions that open it up to the whole school. So therefore I've got football players and I've got cheerleaders and I've got volleyball players and dance people, which is great, but when it comes to scheduling, we all want to come first. And a couple of my cast members decided that I want to stay in volleyball, and I needed a firm commitment. You can be here for the kinds of rehearsing that I'm doing, and because it's mask making, it's a dance, it's the lines, it's all of that. And then there were the cases of people who just couldn't commit to the rehearsal time. So after several missed rehearsals, I just couldn't handle it any further. And then there was the example also of parents pulling them out because they felt if their grades weren't up to par, then they shouldn't be a part of this. And all I could do was support them. But meanwhile, I'm going, really? Why should I suffer? Please, how do I adjust? You say to yourself, I've committed myself, I've committed these children, I've made a commitment to the school, I've made a commitment to Audubon Zoo, I've made a commitment all the way, and I'm following through on it.
Rehearsals are kind of crazy, but I know in the end it's going to be perfect because Ms. V, she's going to get us all there. She's already taken out some people that don't want to be here. It's sad, but I mean, if you don't want to be here, you don't want to commit, you got to leave.
It's a lot of pressure because when they get cut from the play, it gives Ms. V more pressure, and then we have more lines to learn, and it's very difficult to do when you're used to doing something with that person and they're not there anymore, so it's like very different and it changes the whole thing. The person who played my husband, who died in the play, he got cut because he said that he can only make it on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and we have practice the whole week. And we have to practice doing dance moves, lines, and he has a very important role because he's the one that gets shot and, trapped by the hunters. So it's hard to do stuff without him, but she had another member of another cast member help out.
Figure out what you're going to do, fill in, and of course it makes for some very interesting creativity, let's put it that way, because certain characters were to do certain things, compile them into another part. Somebody else is supposed to do it, you have to do this now. One young lady was going to assist me with music.